Welcome back. You're watching the Jacksonville History Show. I'm Harry Reagan. Now we welcome guests from the Ritz Theater and Museum, Adonica Toller, Museum Assistant, and Octavius Davis, Marketing and Development Manager. Welcome to the History Show.
Thanks for having us, Harry.
And we want to find out what's going on. If someone came to the Ritz Theater and Museum, what would they see, Adonica?
Well, we have a beautiful museum that focuses on the history of Africans and African Americans in Northeast Florida. And so you'll have a walk through the history of that community. And what's really special is that we do focus on people who lived in Jacksonville or lived in St. Augustine. And the other thing is most of the items that you see on display have been donated to us by those people. So we have the personal items of these individuals that help us tell the story.
Okay, let's take a look at some photos.
Okay.
And that helps tell the story, I think.
Yes. This picture is the Fine Art of Jazz. It's actually a traveling exhibit that's on display with us until January 7th. And it is a exhibit of photographs done by Dan White, who is a Pulitzer Award-winning artist who knows several Kansas City artists, and he wanted to record their history. He didn't want them to be forgotten. And so this is exhibits on loan to us from Kansas City. And as a result, we actually have some Jacksonville jazz legends who've worked with some of these individuals. And so it's also given us an opportunity to educate the local community that Jacksonville is a big part of the jazz scene as well.
Okay.
And this is a picture of our exhibit on James Weldon Johnson and his brother John Rosamond, who were both born and raised here in Jacksonville. They're mostly noted for writing the song Lift Every Voice and Sing, and but they've done some really other great things with Broadway, civil rights activity, and so that exhibit is on display, and we have a robotic exhibit that features them as well.
And this might be the most notable part of the museum.
Absolutely. It definitely gets the attention of the students when they come through, because you know they're not really that excited.
And you get a lot of field trips?
We get a lot of field trips. People in town, from out of town also come to us as well. But we have our we have teachers who bring their students back every year. This exhibit, as Octavius is flipping through these other photographs, are the actual artifacts that have been donated to us. This cash register has come from the Anderson department store that was on Florida Avenue, which is now a Philip Randolph. And one of the founders' descendants, Richard Anderson, was the owner of the store, and one of his great nieces have donated that to us, as well as the company safe. So when you come in, you'll see them both side by side.
Wow.
So that's a perfect example of the things that we have on display. And with the Fine Art of Jazz exhibit, we have a series of programming. We will feature some local jazz musicians who are going to honor Count Basie. John Lumpkin, who is a noted jazz drummer here in the city, is our consultant for this aspect. And so we'll have an opportunity to enjoy jazz from some of our modern day jazz musicians. So that event is actually next Tuesday, October 21st at 7 o'clock.
October 21st?
Yes, in the Ritz
Because this show
Museum.
runs
through January 7th.
Some people who are seeing this will be looking back on October 21st.
Right. And then we have another one in November and another one in December. This exhibit, the Fine Art of Jazz exhibit, is with us till January 7th, 2015.
Okay, so do we have some other photos that we want to?
Those are pretty much all the photos that we have.
Okay.
But when you speak about the Ritz as a whole in terms of where we are now and where we're going, the facility, as many people know, has an extensive history here in Jacksonville, which displays a lot of the rich history from the La Villa area part of town. So now what we're seeking to do is to build on that and to create additional stories and to expand our reach throughout the community. And from a branding standpoint, one of the ways that we're positioning ourselves is as being Jacksonville's home for culturally exciting art and entertainment. Adonica did a fabulous job speaking about the Fine Art of Jazz exhibit. In addition to our museum exhibits, we have a plethora of phenomenal shows that are coming through the Ritz as well.
And let's talk a little bit about the history of the Ritz Theater.
Sure.
It goes back a long ways
Long way.
and was kind of saved at a certain point by the city.
Right.
And they were trying to save some historical structures and so forth.
Exactly. The Ritz Theater was originally built in 1929, right in the year of the Depression. And it was the first building in town to have neon lights on it, but it was one of the segregated theaters. So it was one of the theaters that the black community could come to watch movies. The first time they saw Lone Ranger or saw cartoons or saw the Ten Commandments was at the Ritz Theater, at the Ritz Theater, I should say. And so once, and it was a center of entertainment. It was, at that time, the La Villa neighborhood of which it was part of had come from being a plantation. It was a Spanish land grant plantation, but it was predominantly African American, though there were other ethnic groups like Cubans and Syrians. Frenchmen that I've actually met who've been doing their family history have come to the Ritz to say, my grandmother was born on the block over here. And so it was very much part of the community activity. Even my mother talked about going to the Ritz. And so it was very much part of the social life and community life of African Americans in Jacksonville. And once integration took place, it started going down. And so by the time I came along, I do remember riding on the school bus home every day, riding by the Ritz when it was run down. It was closed. It was just
Nothing was there.
nothing was there.
The building.
The building was raggedy. And now it has been rebuilt. It has been brought back to life, and the area that the museum is in the building was where once there had been storefront businesses and apartments. And so the main entrance is the same entrance from the original. You come into the lobby and you have an opportunity to see concerts on the stage or perform on the stage yourself through our Ritz Amateur Night Show. And so it has become alive. Some days I'm in the museum giving tours all day. And so people rent out the lobby space and theater for their own programs. We've had weddings and receptions in the Ritz lobby. And so it has come back to life, and it's beautifully decorated, and it fits beautifully with most programs or activities that people have there.
Now, not to put you on the spot with a pop quiz on Jacksonville history, but you know what happened across the street from the Ritz Theater, right?
Well, there was the
diagonally across the street.
Diagonally, now there was the Witchin building across the street, and then where Billy Daniels was born, as a matter of fact, I want to throw that in. And then there was Daylight, and then, now if you're talking before that, I'm not sure, is there a...
That's where the great Jacksonville fire started.
Oh, yes, you're talking about on the corner of Beaver and Davis Street.
Yep.
Yes, that's where the Cleveland Fiber Company was. That's where the sparks from the fire got into the fibers,
and the city
it spread
from
that way toward what we know as downtown Jacksonville. So that's actually what's happening.
If the wind had been blowing in a different
direction, it would have gone in the other direction. But it actually just, and the fire was so huge, the smoke, that people in Savannah, Georgia could see the smoke. So they knew something was going on just from looking in the sky. But yes, we're actually, you're right, we're a block over from where the Great Fire of Jacksonville started.
But that whole neighborhood has made a comeback.
Yes, it's coming back.
There's a nice middle school, School of the Arts, a whole lot of things
it's
going
coming
on
back,
in
and
the
there's some
neighborhood.
commercial businesses in this area, yes. So it's come back from running down, people leaving the area, or just the commerce, people moving to the suburbs, the Regency Square Mall, all that kind of thing. People, when downtown was the hub, once people started going out to the suburbs, then that part of town did die economically and socially a little bit.
And when, just to get our history straight here, about when was it rebuilt?
In 1999,
1999.
it reopened September 1999. In fact, we're in our 15th year.
Yep.
And on
15th
October
year of the
reopening of the new
reopening.
Ritz.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, on October 25th, we will be celebrating our anniversary. We will be having some celebrations in our museum. Some local jazz musicians going to be inside. And we have a bricklaying ceremony. We have, as a fundraiser, we have bricks, commemorative bricks that people can buy. So we're going to have our official ceremony. We have over 40 bricks this time. And that night, we're going to have a concert with Miss Betty Levette. And I'm looking forward to meeting her. And she is a blues jazz legend. And so we're very excited about that.
Now, there was an exhibit you had that I didn't get a chance to see, but I was really interested dealing with sports.
Yes, that was our More Than a Game, More Than a Game, African American Sports in Jacksonville from 1900 to 1975. And it started out with a group of coaches who, local coaches, legendary coaches like Jimmy Johnson and Ms. Coach Day and Coach Hines, and they wanted to really let people know that they were out, they were still around, and they still wanted to be mentors. And one of the things that we told them is, as well, one thing we can do is let them know what you've done in the past. And so it turned out to be, I think, one of the best exhibits we've ever done, because we really got an opportunity to meet the local people. And that's where we really understood how important the East-West Classic was, which was a football game on Thanksgiving Day. And it was the social event in the black community. And we had an opportunity to really talk more about Bob Hayes, who won the gold medal in 1964 too. He set the world record. And we actually have his actual practice track shoes on display in our museum. And we just really had an opportunity for people to really learn about that era, even though it was during segregation and it was somewhat of a negative time in our community. There was a community of people. And I would like to say that we actually won a Historic Preservation Award for that exhibit. So we were very proud of that. And that actually was the first exhibit that I solely curated. So I was very proud that we received that award. But that exhibit not only just talked about sports, but it talked about how close the communities were here in Jacksonville.
Well, you'll do a great job. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Octavius Davis and Donica Toller. Enjoyed having you on the Jacksonville History Show. Hope to have you back soon.
All right, thank you for having us.
And that's our show. Thanks for watching. For more information, call the Jacksonville Historical Society at 665-0064 or visit the website jackshistory.com. Until next time, we're history.